Today, we are exploring 25 iconic meals from Lincoln's presidency. As a kid, growing up in the 1800s, Abraham Lincoln would often go fishing with his father, and they would cook their catch over an open fire. One of Lincoln's favorite dishes was fried fish, which he would enjoy with his family and friends during his presidency. It was a simple yet delicious meal that reminded him of his simpler times before politics. Number 24. Boiled dinner. During the Civil War, food shortages were common, and ingredients were often scarce. Despite this, Mary Todd Lincoln, wife of President Abraham Lincoln, was determined to keep her husband well fed. She would often prepare boiled dinners for him, which consisted of inexpensive cuts of meat such as brisket or pork shoulder, cooked for hours until they were so tender they could be pulled apart with a fork. These meals may not have been fancy, but they were full of flavor and provided Lincoln with the sustenance he needed to keep going. Number 23. Roast turkey. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln proclaimed the last Thursday in November as a national day of Thanksgiving. And since then, it has become an annual tradition in the United States. To celebrate this special occasion, Lincoln's family would often enjoy a roast turkey dinner together, giving thanks for the blessings of the year and the hope for a better future. The smell of roasting turkey filled the White House with warmth and joy, creating lasting memories for all who shared in it. Number 22. Venison. When Abraham Lincoln was in the White House, he had access to some of the finest foods the country had to offer. One of his favorites was venison, a dish made from the meat of deer that was often served during special occasions. Lincoln enjoyed the taste of venison so much that he even had a portrait of himself painted while wearing a buckskin jacket, a tribute to his love for hunting and the great outdoors. Number 21. Fried chicken. Fried chicken was one of Abraham Lincoln's favorite comfort foods, and he often enjoyed it during his busy presidency. The crispy, juicy goodness of a perfectly fried chicken was a welcome treat in the midst of all the stress and responsibility that came with being president. Whether he was dining with family or entertaining guests, fried chicken was always a crowd pleaser and a reminder of happier times. Number 20. Corned beef and cabbage. Corned beef and cabbage was a traditional meal that Abraham Lincoln often enjoyed during his presidency. This hearty dish consisted of boiled pieces of corned beef brisket, along with cabbage, potatoes, and carrots. Lincoln loved the rich, savory flavor of the corned beef and the way it complemented the other ingredients in the meal. It was a comforting and satisfying dish that reminded him of his Irish heritage and the immigrants who had come to America in search of a better life. Number 19. Baked ham. Baked ham was another classic dish that Abraham Lincoln enjoyed during his presidency. He liked to serve it with a pineapple ring on top, adding a touch of sweetness to the savory ham. This dish was often served during special occasions, such as holidays or state dinners, and was a symbol of Lincoln's commitment to tradition and elegance. Number 80. Shepherd's pie. Shepherdess pie is a traditional British dish that consists of a layer of mashed potatoes on top of a savory mixture of lamb or other meat, vegetables, and gravy. Abraham Lincoln's mother, Nancy Hanks, was a descendant of Scottish and Welsh immigrants, and she often made shepherd's pie for her family. Lincoln loved this dish because it reminded him of his mother and his humble beginnings. Number 17. Yorkshire pudding. Yorkshire pudding is a traditional British dish that consists of a batter made from flour, eggs, and milk that is baked in a hot oven until it rises and becomes puffy and golden-hued. It is often served as a side dish with roasted meats such as beef or lamb. Although there is some debate over whether Yorkshire pudding should be considered a dessert or a main course, what is certain is that Abraham Lincoln enjoyed this dish so much that he requested it several times during his presidency. Number 16. Bread and butter. One of Abraham Lincoln's simplest yet most beloved meals was bread and butter. During his presidency, he was known to enjoy a good piece of toasted bread with a generous amount of butter on top. It was a quick and easy meal that he could eat on the go while working long hours in the Oval Office. For Lincoln, it was more than just a meal. It was a reminder of his humble beginnings and the importance of hard work and dedication. Number 15. Pancakes and syrup. Pancakes and syrup were a favorite breakfast of Abraham Lincoln. He loved the fluffy, buttery texture of the pancakes and the sweet taste of maple syrup drizzled on top. During his presidency, he would often enjoy this meal on Sunday mornings while reading the newspaper and planning the week ahead. It was a simple yet comforting start to the day for the busy president. Number 14, oatmeal. Oatmeal was a staple of Abraham Lincoln's morning routine. He believed that a good breakfast was essential to start the day off right, and oatmeal was his go-to choice. He would often add fruit or nuts to his oatmeal to make it more flavorful and nutritious. For Lincoln, oatmeal was more than just a breakfast food. It was a symbol of his commitment to simplicity, hard work, and public service. Number 13, eggs. Eggs were a common sight in the White House kitchen during Abraham Lincoln's presidency. He enjoyed them, scrambled, poached, or fried, and they were often served with bacon or sausage. For Lincoln, eggs were a convenient and nutritious meal option that he could rely on when his schedule was hectic. They were also a reminder of his humble beginnings, as he had worked as a farmer early in his life and was familiar with raising and collecting eggs. Number 12, soup. During the Civil War, when food was scarce and people were struggling to survive, Abraham Lincoln and his wife Mary would often donate money to have soup kitchens set up in Washington, D.C. and around the country. The soup kitchens would serve a simple but nourishing meal of soup and bread to those who were hungry and in need. It was a way for the president and his wife to give back to the community and help those who were suffering through the hardships of the war. Number 11, steamed fish. Steamed fish was one of Abraham Lincoln's favorite meals during his presidency. He enjoyed the delicate flavor and flaky texture of the fish that was cooked by the gentle steam, which helped to retain its moisture and prevent it from drying out. Steamed fish was often served with a simple side dish like mashed potatoes or green beans, which complemented the flavor of the fish without overpowering it. Number 10, roast duck. Roast duck was a dish that Abraham Lincoln often enjoyed during the holiday season. The succulent, juicy meat of the duck was a welcome change from the more common poultry of the time, such as chicken or turkey. Roast duck was often served with a side of cranberry sauce or applesauce, which added a touch of sweetness to the savory meal. Number 9, oyster stew. Oyster stew was a popular dish in the United States in the mid-1800s, and Abraham Lincoln was no exception to enjoying this creamy, flavorful soup made with fresh oysters, potatoes, and other vegetables. During his presidency, oyster stew was often served in the White House kitchen and was a favorite among both the staff and guests. Number 8, lobster thermidor. Lobster thermidor is a classic French dish that consists of lobster meat cooked in a creamy sauce and then baked in a casserole dish topped with breadcrumbs and cheese. While this dish is not typically associated with Abraham Lincoln, it was actually served at a state dinner in his honor in 1862. The president enjoyed the rich, decadent flavor of the lobster and the buttery, cheesy topping. Number 7, buffalo. Buffalo was a wild game that was popular in the United States in the mid-1800s, and Abraham Lincoln was a known hunter of the animal during his presidency. Buffalo was served in the White House kitchen on several occasions. The meat was often roasted or grilled and served with a side of mashed potatoes or biscuits. Number 6, game pie. Game pie was a traditional British dish that was popular in the United States in the mid-1800s. This savory pie was filled with a variety of game meats, such as venison, rabbit, or squirrel, and was often served during special occasions. Abraham Lincoln was a fan of game pie, and it was frequently served in the White House kitchen during his presidency. Number 5, fricassee. Fricassee is a slow-cooked chicken dish that is braised in its own juices and then served with a sauce made from the cooking liquid. The dish is typically made with pieces of chicken along with vegetables such as potatoes, carrots, and onions. Abraham Lincoln enjoyed fricassee as it was a flavorful and comforting meal that reminded him of his mother's cooking. Number 4, baked potatoes. Baked potatoes were a simple yet satisfying meal that Abraham Lincoln often enjoyed during his presidency. He liked to bake the potatoes in the embers of a fire or in the ashes of a campfire, which gave them a smoky flavor that was different from the usual baked potatoes. Lincoln would often top his baked potatoes with butter, cheese, or sour cream and chives. Number 3. Pot roast. Pot roast was one of Abraham Lincoln's favorite meals, and he often requested it when dining at the White House. This slow-cooked beef dish was perfect for a cold winter night, and the rich. Tender meat was a welcome comfort food during the stressful times of the Civil War. Mary Todd Lincoln, the president's wife, was known to make an excellent pot roast, and it was a staple of the White House menu during their time there. Number 2. Roasted goose. Roasted goose was a traditional dish that was often served during special occasions and holidays during Abraham Lincoln's presidency. The succulent, flavorful meat of the goose was a welcome addition to the White House table, and it was often served with a side of cranberry sauce or applesauce. Lincoln enjoyed the taste of roasted goose, and it was a reminder of the traditional foods that he had grown up eating. Number 1. Thanksgiving dinner. Thanksgiving was a holiday that Abraham Lincoln held dear, and he proclaimed the last Thursday in November as a national day of Thanksgiving in 1863. During his presidency, Lincoln and his wife Mary would host a grand Thanksgiving dinner in the White House with all the trimmings, including a roasted turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie. It was a time for the family to give thanks for the blessings of the year and to reflect on the sacrifices that had been made during the Civil War. Which meal from Abraham Lincoln's presidency piqued your interest? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.